last time.
Last time, thank you.
Guess you will remember me for that.
Of course. I hope that you show up more often and just bring water for me.
Oh, I need to tell Jason,
I can bring by
my
gallon.
cousin,
Yeah, there you go. I'll take it.
he was his student.
I'll take it.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say that. That's all graduation. Yeah.
Yeah, because I always say that.
When's it? This is before?
Kathy, bang at the start. You call the meeting to order, and bang the gavel and call the meeting to order.
Maybe I'll see you in November.
You know what's gonna happen. Neither do I. See? You don't like change either, right? You're one of the teachers. I hear you.
Hello, good evening. We are starting the Board of Education meeting here tonight, October 19th, 2023. It is just 7 p.m. here at Rocky Hill Town Hall Council Chambers. This meeting will be live streamed at the Rocky Hill Public Schools website. Can we first stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I am chairing the meeting this evening. Mr. Slattery had a personal matter that he needs to take care of this evening, so I'm excited for my first opportunity to chair this. Mr. Zettergren, you are kicking us off with the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations report.
Okay, thank you. My report tonight is pretty brief, but enclosed in your board packet is the financial report reflecting year-to-date figures for the month ending September 2023. I have highlighted accounts that at this point in time we'll be keeping an eye on as we progress through the school year. I have also included the projected financial report for the quarter ending September 2023 in accordance with the board policy. Please note that it is early in the school year and that these projections will change as we progress through the year, but this is a recap as to where we are right now. We have begun our budget process and have distributed the budget documents to our various departments, groups, and administrators. We have received the majority of the requested budget documents back, and we'll be starting our meetings with the administrators next week to review their budget requests with them. So the budget process has officially begun, and we'll be looking forward to getting together with the board to discuss the budget that the superintendent comes up with.
Looking forward to it. Any questions or comments? Ms. Manella?
Chuck, on account number 561, when are we planning, hopefully getting an ECS state payment for the deficit?
Yeah, we'll get our first payment from the state. It won't be until the end of February.
Okay.
And then we'll get another second payment in May. So it does come towards the latter part of the year.
And it'll hopefully equal to what our deficit is, or?
Yeah, and I work closely with Amy Stevenson's special ed department to, they have to submit, reports through the state. So we're in constant communication, anticipating what those numbers will be.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. We will now open up the meeting for the public. Anyone here wishing to address the board?
Hello, Tom Kosker, 52 Tall Pines Lane. I figured with such an audience, someone might step up, so I paused for a second. But a couple things to report real quick. We had a wonderful parent group meeting. A number of you on the board know I run a parent group for parents of students with special education needs and disabilities. Had a wonderful meeting last night. We'll also be meeting next week with some of you on the board as well on Monday night. That one will be virtually. Special Education Advisory Council, so that'll be coming up next week. Look forward to meeting you guys all and the parents at that one. Oh, and you guys might be doing this anyway later, but just wanted to say farewell to Dilip for his years of service, and I've been coming to these meetings for quite a few years, and I've been part of this for a while, so appreciate that on behalf of the students in the community. So, thanks so much. Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Kosker. Anyone else wish to address the board? Okay. We have student representatives here from the high school student council.
Hello, members of the board. This past month has been very eventful for the whole school, and we are excited to share with you. At the end of September, the Royal Blues Marching Band had 2 competitions. The home show was on the 30th of September, and they did very well with a score of 73 points. On October 4th, they had another meeting at Lyman Hall, and despite dealing with cold, rainy weather, they still made it out with a great score of 79.9 points. The band has 3 more competitions coming up this month. Overall, they are very proud of the hard work that has been a constant since band camp started in August. Early in October, on the 5th, the freshman class participated in Lend a Paw. Different homerooms went to different sites in Connecticut to earn community service hours. Just 2 of the possible locations they could have gone to was a farm where they helped by taking care of horses, and Camp Ingersoll, where they helped by taking care of the campgrounds and doing maintenance. Lend a Paw was a great chance for the 9th graders to get a head start on their community service hours. Now, just last week, the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors took the PSATs. After some minor technical difficulties, the PSATs went smoothly, and in the end was a great success for this year's preliminary testing.
On September 12th, the town of Rocky Hill hosted an English learning night for those in our district who might have come from a different country or a different dialect as their first language. Many high schoolers were able to help volunteer that night and be a friend to those who have come here without knowing anyone. It went very well and was able to help introduce these kids to our positive environment. Yesterday, the high school had our National Honor Society, or NHS, induction night. Upperclassmen with a 3.8 GPA or higher had a ceremony recognizing their amazing achievement that they all worked so hard for. They will now be able to help fellow terriers with our peer tutoring lab in the library. Big congrats to them. Today there is a financial aid meeting held by our guidance department for parents who are sending their children off to college and need help planning or saving for universities. There are many other things our school is doing to help parents plan for college. One of the last things to talk about is our new addition to the school, Joy the Therapy Dog. Students at Rocky Hill High School who are stressed or need a little bit of support can sign up to hang out with the dog during their free periods on certain days of the week with the parents' permission. Thank you for all your attention tonight, and we have very exciting topics to discuss next time. Thank you.
Thank you. We have additional student representatives from Mosier School.
So cute.
If you want to step around and take a picture, step around and take a picture.
Good evening. I'm really excited to introduce Graham and Gianna, who are 2 amazing Mosier students, and they were highly recommended by their 5th grade teachers. I will do.
Hello, my name is Graham Dowd, and I'm a 5th grader at Mosier School, and I'm very excited to be here this evening.
Hi, my name is Gianna Palazzo. I'm a 5th grader at Mosier and very happy that I'm here this evening to talk about our amazing school.
Safety at Mosier is our #1 priority. In September, we practiced 2 ALICE drills. We had a fire drill and an evacuation rally point drill. Students, including myself, feel safe and are lucky that staff make it a priority to keep us safe.
We enjoy making connections and learning from each other at Mosier. Before we dive to learning the grade level curriculum, our teachers provide us with many activities to learn from each other. We take the time to create an environment where everyone is welcomed and appreciated. We want all learners at Mosier to feel safe in their learning environment.
We kicked off the school year with our school-wide Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, PBIS. Teachers received the How Full Is Your Bucket books for staff and students. Teachers read the How Full Is Your Bucket book for kids to create a positive and healthy school environment for our students. It influences the students at Mosier to communicate with one another in a respectful and kind manner. We are learning powerful themes from these books that we can share, learn, and celebrate in our own lives.
Yes, at Mosier, we are bucket fillers. Here are some examples on how we fill each other's buckets with positive praise and affirmations from staff and students. 4th and 5th grade students decorate kindness buckets as a symbol of kindness and respect toward one another. Throughout the whole school, you can see that we've hung these fun drawings that are placed for all to see. We want to display our core values. It is important to us to demonstrate how we treat each other at Mosier.
Our PBIS action plan helps us focus on monthly themes to drive what we do each and every day. We started the school year with a focus on friendship. This month we are focusing on creativity, and next month we are focusing on gratitude. And all the other months represent an action of loyalty and justice that shapes our school.
In the art classroom, students have been exploring and getting creative. On display, we have abstract art projects with beautiful weaving patterns and colors with amazing and unique designs made by hand from every 4th grader. The students look forward to fun and new art projects that put our creativity to the test. We are able to use the arts to express our feelings. This weaving project was challenging, but also very fun. They are on display around the school, making the hallways vibrant with student examples.
We had a great open house. Parents and guardians enjoyed bringing their children and our fellow students to visit our wonderful school. Families learned more about the curriculum and the concepts and skills students will be learning throughout the school year. The staff at Mosier enjoyed connecting with families.
We welcome Ms. Castagna to Mosier, our life skills teacher. Her team is amazing. The Life Skills program has a Castagna Cafe where they teach students work expectations. Here we have Joe for the Freshmart Employee of the Week. Congrats to Joe for demonstrating the Castagna work expectations. We celebrate the awesomeness and uniqueness our school community offers. We are also very fortunate for our amazing staff and, of course, Ms. Castagna, that teaches young and amazing children about life and how to grow. Our Freshmart Life Skills program is a fun and great way to work with children while also celebrating one another through this program.
Student Council had their first meeting and are planning some really cool events to support our community for the upcoming holiday season with a food and toy drive. They're also promoting our first Spirit Week at the end of this month. We have partnered with the New England Rendocon to provide students with an opportunity to learn and practice the martial arts. This will be offered to families on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting October 17th to November 9th for 4 weeks. Intramurals sports for boys and girls will also start the week of October 23rd for boys on Mondays and girls on Tuesdays from 3:15 to 4 p.m. and will go on for 12 consecutive weeks. We are working with the Rocky Hill Youth and Family Services to plan for more after-school programs. We are planning to offer 6-week programs for art explorers and leadership groups for boys and girls. These amazing events offer a chance for Mosier students to demonstrate leadership skills and to, of course, have fun.
Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles visited Mosier to support students and to get them excited about the martial arts. Mosier students had a blasting greeting Michelangelo to kick off the school day.
We want to thank the Rocky Hill Administration and Board of Education members for your continuous support. We love being part of the wonderful learning community. Gracias for the third SRO, Officer Jordan is a great addition to the Mosier family.
Thank you so much.
I agree. Good job. No, thank you very much for those reports. It was very nice to hear all of the good things happening in both schools. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes as listed on your agenda. Any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Okay. Can I have a motion accepting these minutes as listed?
So moved.
Motioned by Ms. Manella. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Clemens. Correspondence, Dr. Zito?
No correspondence this week.
No correspondence. Consent agenda, there are 3 items on our consent agenda. Approval of the Board of Education meeting schedule for 2024. The approval of Rocky Hill High School class of 2024 graduation date, which is Tuesday, October 18th, 2024. Oh, October, no, June. Thank you. Summer. Take your time.
You guys all have summer school.
Don't scare me like that.
Sorry, seniors. Tuesday, June 18th. It is going to be at Central Connecticut State University this year. And lastly, the approval of the contract between Rocky Hill Teachers Association and the Rocky Hill Board of Education. Is there a motion for the consent calendar?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Rolfe. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Morphia. Thank you. Moving on to the committee reports. Our first committee report is the curriculum, and we have not met since the last board meeting, but we have a scheduled date of October 25th. Facilities, Mr. Gavin?
We had a meeting. We had a facilities meeting on October 5th where we discussed the forward progress of the Stevens School HVAC improvements. From that meeting, we had a special Board of Ed meeting on October 6th where the board approved to move forward to pursue a grant to help us continue the HVAC improvements at Stevens School.
You know how to clear a room.
I do. Apparently. I didn't even get to, I was going to say, my safety, whatever, we'll get to it.
The next committee report is the Finance Committee. We have not met since the last board meeting. We are looking forward to our budget dates in late January. Personnel and negotiations.
The Personnel and Negotiations Committee met multiple times with the teachers' union representatives as well as their legal representatives. And I am happy to say that on October 12th, in our final meeting, we came to an agreement on the contract between the Rocky Hill Teachers Association and the Rocky Hill Board of Education, which we just approved on the consent calendar. It was a very good, healthy meetings. I think everything went really well. I wanted to thank all the teachers and the representatives from each school for participating and giving us information on their thoughts and, you know, having a very nice dialogue between the board and the Teachers Association.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Clemens, the Policy Committee.
We have not met since the last board meeting.
Special Education has also not met. And Mr. Desai, the Correct Council.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. And Mr. Gavin, School Safety.
School Safety had a meeting on October 10th. As the nice gentleman had mentioned, we did hire our third student resource officer, Will Jordan. He is a great addition to the SRO program. He was an SRO officer in Newington before coming to Rocky Hill. And as you can tell, the kids are very excited that he will be in the schools on a regular basis.
Great. And the last committee, technology.
The Technology Committee did not have any meetings in October. We don't have anything scheduled yet.
Okay. There is no old business on our agenda.
Amber, I got one question.
Oh, sure.
It's the new SROs, the new SRO, are they assigned to one school or they float?
So we now have 3 full-time school resource officers.
Okay.
We have one, Officer Raymond, primarily assigned to the high school as her sole assignment. I talked to Officer Jordan, actually yesterday when I was at Stevens School. It's going to be roughly Stevens and Mosier for him. And then for Officer Baker, typically West Hill and the middle school. But when I was making some rounds yesterday, I saw Officer Jordan checking doors at West Hill. So they don't just dedicate themselves to those 2 schools. They're going to, it's not going to be unusual to see all 3 officers at various times at different schools. I've run into Officer Raymond at all the schools throughout the year, but those are the typical assignments.
That's good. Build a relationship with the students.
It's excellent, yeah. And he, you know, again, the second day in the new post, and I pulled into West Hill, and he was checking doors on the exterior of the building.
Excellent.
You know, they're an active group, and we're very happy to have them.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further questions?
Just a quick comment. All 3 were at GMS this morning. It was nice to see them there.
Yes, directing
So-
traffic.
Yeah, thank you.
That traffic over there.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, with the staggered arrival times, they make a point of covering all the schools. They're very active and mobile, and it's a good thing.
Very good. Okay, on to new business, class size analysis. Dr. Zito?
So you have the class size analysis. I apologize for the delay in getting this to you. It's on me. There's been a lot going on, but you've received an electronic copy earlier today. You have a hard copy in front of you tonight. I'll take you through it. No surprises. Enrollment is very stable in Rocky Hill. On the first page, you see the elementary enrollments. We break them down. So those are seats in classrooms, kids in classrooms as of October 1st. So you see Stevens School. The report starts with the Bright Beginnings numbers. Just as a note on Bright Beginnings, we have 13 additional students in what Mr. Kennison calls the hopper. So they're students who have been referred, who are in the process of enrolling. So you can expect those Bright Beginning numbers to go up. We have one area, grade 1 at Stevens, where we're over by 2 students in first grade in 2 of the classes. It is important to remember that these numbers reflect every student assigned to the various homerooms. So in some cases, there may be students that spend the majority of their day in a specialized program, but they're still assigned to a homeroom for the purposes of this report. So I'm not overly concerned with those numbers. They actually look really good across the board at the elementary level. The other thing to keep in mind with Stevens is it's a very tight physical space. So we have 20 classrooms, and that's what we have, and they're pretty full. So we've been lucky so far that the numbers have stayed where they are. In fact, 9 fewer students this year at Stevens. If you look at the right hand of the report, on page 1, you'll see last year's enrollment reflected versus the current year. Again, stability is the key phrase here. If you look at the overall enrollment at the elementary level, we're up 2 kids from last year. So you really couldn't be much more stable than that. We get into middle school on this report. If you haven't seen it before, we break it down by course enrollment. So you're going to see on the right-hand column, you'll see numbers of students enrolled in the various courses because we like to just take a look at what's going on within each classroom in terms of enrollment. Anytime you see really small numbers on this report, for example, on page 2, SD Language Arts, that's a skills development class for students with special needs. So you're going to see some of those small numbers with things like target math, SD math. That's not atypical. When you see the larger numbers, 20, 21, 16, 18, that in grade 6 is a typical science class throughout the day in the 2 pods. Those are the class enrollments. So again, no surprises there. I reviewed this report with Mr. Maziarz. We went through it together. We didn't see any surprises. It's pretty stable. Move along to grade 7, same situation, no concerns in grade 7. On this report, this might have been the first time we broke out band and jazz band. You can see that on page 7. Jazz band is a little more select, page 3 rather, for the 7th grade. So that's a specialized program. 43 kids in the general band, 15 in the chorus. So it's a pretty detailed report in terms of breaking down what each class size looks like at the middle school. Same story with grade 8. Again, I reviewed it with Mr. Maziarz, and we didn't see any surprises on the report. So at the bottom of page 4, you see the cohort enrollment. That's the grade level I'm referring to. So you could see that this year's 6th grade is a bit of a small cohort. The 8th grade is a larger cohort. It's about 40 more kids. So that's a fairly large bubble moving through the district. The overall enrollment at the middle school, again, stable. 632 kids enrolled last year on October 1, 614 this year. So it's a drop of 18. And we do see some of these variations. 220 might be our highest cohort in the district. 180 is a smaller cohort. We also note that typically when kids leave 8th grade and go to Rocky Hill High School, we anticipate that 221 is going to drop. And the reason for that is some families pursue the K through 8 education in Rocky Hill, but for whatever reasons pursue a place like Northwest Catholic or Xavier or another type of private school. There's usually 10 or 15 kids might drop off that number is our experience. So if you turn to page 5, this is the high school. Obviously, a lot of courses running at the high school. I went through this in detail with Mr. Malizia and Mr. Foti and Amy Carbuti, our lead guidance counselor. No surprises on this report. Again, where you see these little classes, like with 1 or 2 kids, that's a specialized program for those kids. No concerns, and frankly, class sizes I was very pleased this year with the way the report looked. We seem to become pretty efficient with our scheduling. So you've got it broken down by all the various subject areas, social studies, world language, mathematics, science. You can see those numbers as you work through the report. If you flip to back page, Mr. Clemens had asked me a question. He contacted me, page 11, about the Pathways program. Those numbers are up, but again, those are course counts. So for this year, I'm looking now at page 12. Pathways, this is a question Mr. Clemens had. Those are course enrollments. So we have 8 or 9 kids enrolled in the Pathways program right now, maybe even 10, Ms. Stevenson. But they're taking individual courses up to 81. Last year, we might have had 3 kids in the program, and that's not unusual to go from 3 to 10 in a given year. They are technically still high school students, but they're doing their coursework in the Pathways program. And then if you flip to the last page, you'll see that we have the overall summary. Christine did a really nice job pulling these numbers together for us, so thank you, Ms. Flynn. You can look at 23, 24, comparison at the high school. Again, very stable. 5 fewer students, 717 this year, 722 last year. You see our Dream Academy numbers. You see our outplaced kids. Those are private outplacements that are categorized to Rocky Hill. We do have other outplacements that are not on our October 1 report because they are coded as correct students in many cases. So the overall takeaway here for the enrollment in red, our October 1 enrollment in our schools was 2530. Last year was 2550. Overall difference of 20 kids, which in a district our size is a tiny difference. Fewer than 1% change. So that's good for budgeting when the numbers are stable. When I first came to the district, those of you that were on the board, I'm looking at Ms. Masai, Ms. Manella. Remember, we were going through years where we were growing 3 or 4% per year. We were going up 100, 150 kids in some years, and it was really, that's why we had to build Mosier, because the numbers were growing rapidly. But for the last probably 4 or 5 years now, we've seen it level out, and it's been exceptionally stable, which from a planning and budgetary standpoint is really good for Rocky Hill. So that's the report. Take it home with you. Email me if you have any questions or give me a call. But the overall takeaway, I'm pleased with it. We continue to honor the board class size guidelines. and we continue to run a very efficient operation. So I think overall, very pleased with the way the numbers look.
Thank you, Dr. Zito. Any comments, questions? I have just one question.
Sure.
And it may be a bit early to ask this. So for the Dream Academy, when we are expecting it to open, are we expecting that 9 to increase?
Not immediately. Those are kids that are already enrolled, so when the restaurant program opens, I don't anticipate a change in enrollment based on that. I do think, though, and Ms. Stevenson could provide more information, we are anticipating over the next several years fairly robust numbers coming out of the high school into the Dream Academy. The restaurant won't change the enrollment.
Right.
But
The restaurant won't change the enrollment?
Enrollment at the high school, we have a lot of kids in life
Correct.
skills. And just to give you an example, 2 years ago, we added a second life skills teacher, Lindsay Fliss. We hired her to work with Allison Bergeron because that program historically had been 8 to 10 kids. It's close to 20 now. So when that number doubled, we needed to add another teacher. So long story short, you did some projections if you want to speak to that.
Well, I can tell you that in a few weeks it's going to be 10 because we have a student coming. But that has nothing to do with the restaurant. That's the, projection. But I do anticipate that we're going to run probably anywhere from 9 to 12 for the next couple of years. Yep.
I have a question, Amber.
Sure, Ms. Manila.
I'm bouncing back to GMS. For the math classes,
Page, Ms. Manala.
I'm sorry, page 4. I noticed that there is a class with 27 students, and that's pretty high for math. And one question is about the enrollment of 27 in that one class, and the second question is the spike in math when it breaks out into 3 different levels, and this is just lumped into one level, whereas in the high school level we've got Is there a way to
We could
spike
drill
it?
down, I can get you additional information, I don't have it in front of me right now. In terms of the leveling, we do list them as the 8th grade math classes. The 27, I would suspect, Jason, is probably core math. 27?
Academic algebra.
That's academic algebra, okay, so you know what it is, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not the top tier, but it's right below that top tier.
It's the next tier down
Yeah.
from the top.
Yeah.
So that's one class with 27 kids. Oof.
It's the way the pods go and the course requests go. And that's a large number.
Yeah.
It's relative to the class size. It's a very large class in 8th grade. So
Yeah.
all our numbers, that class is usually large historically.
Yeah.
Because the class size is so large.
If you look at,
That is even larger.
to Jason's point, if you look at the numbers I talked about earlier,
Yeah.
there's 221 8th graders.
Right.
So basically, they're all gonna be a little more crowded than,
Yeah.
say, the 6th grade classes where there's.
Right.
50.
Yeah, Sean
Because
and
we
I.
try to keep that
Yeah.
pod structure intact.
Yep.
And
Sean,
it's very difficult to schedule the kids if we start adding more teachers
Yeah.
to the pod, so we try to run it that way.
okay. Yeah, Sean and I both have kids in this cohort, so,
Yeah, That's a big,
Yep,
big
it's a
group of
big
kids.
class.
It's a big
Test,
class.
sorry.
go ahead.
Is it a test in class, or is it a
The
request?
math, it's kind of both. The math, the kids are leveled in math. We make recommendations. Parents can always override those recommendations, but recommendations are made based upon testing for math.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Next on the agenda, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel and Student Support Service Report, Ms. Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a happy one. Okay, good evening, everybody. It's nice to see you all. before I just do our presentation, which I'm very excited to show you all, it's a presentation on the Dream Academy, I'm just going to give you a quick update on the restaurant piece, because this is not about the restaurant piece. This is just our traditional program. So, is Ron here? Okay, Ron's here. So, it's very exciting. The equipment was delivered Wednesday, right, Ron? Yes. So the equipment is delivered, and you're working on the floor, because I heard something about the floor. Is the floor in? No, next week. But the floor's been picked out and all of that. Yep. So the floor is going to be in next week, and there's paint, blue paint. And it looks like almost like a real space. So it's very exciting. So I do anticipate that I'll have at the next meeting a nice update, right? Yes. Yes. Okay. So more to come on that. Okay. So as you know, most of you know, Colleen Martin left us, and she had been with us from the beginning when the Dream Academy was first started, and she left, and we have a new teacher, and he's doing a great job. So I do have to say that this presentation was put together by Janine Barassi, who's one of our job coaches, so I do want to give a shout out to her. And this is just going to show you guys some of the activities that the kids have been doing. So this is Ian Learned. He is our new director of the Dream Academy. And he is, I know some of the kids look so old, so he's the one with his arm around Antonio. He looks like a kid himself. So we want to thank our employment partners, okay, the Community Center, Cora J. Belden Library, Price Chopper, CVS, Walgreens, Uptown Consignment, and the Department of Veteran Affairs. Couldn't do it without them. So here are our students at the Rocky Hill Community Center. Here they are at Price Chopper. I love pistachios. Here they are at Walgreens. CVS. Uptown Consignments, which I have never been to, but that is someplace I do need to go. And the Department of Veteran Affairs Cafe. So if you guys remember, that was a new job site from last year, and it's been working out really well. The kids love it, and the staff have been really great. And this is them in the mailroom, helping sort the mail. Cora J. Belden Library, which has been a great work site for the kids. And then a portion of their day is doing classwork and just different activities, some social, some academic, and preparing for our Dream Cafe, and apparently also for Halloween. So on Fridays, it's Fun Fridays, and the Transition Academies all get together. So South Windsor, Berlin, they all get together and they do activities all around. So here they are at Pistol Creek in Berlin, which they go every year. And they look like they have a great time. And this is our students in one of the classrooms. They go bowling. That's on a Friday, which they do every year. And the bowling alley usually lets us have the whole place to ourselves and with all the other transition communities, so they usually have a really great time. I'm terrible at bowling, so. So here they are baking, getting ready for our cafe, and doing some activities. Love the hat and the sunglasses. It's our restaurant consultant, assessing the skills so she can kind of be preparing for what the kids can do. I love this picture. I think this is great. I think this is going to have to be like, Ron, like this might have to be like on the sign or something, right? This is a good one. They go to the Berlin Fair. Which they have a great time every year. And the weather every year, it's like it's been raining so much, but the weather was nice. No rain. Apple and pumpkin picking. Every year I always say I'm going to go do this, but I never can go. So one of these years I'm going to make it. Again, a beautiful day, They went out and they did apple picking and pumpkin picking. I love that picture. It's a great picture. And then they came back and they made apple crisp and apple pie, apparently, which I did not get an invite to, so I'm going to have to be talking to Mr. Learned about that. And they did pumpkin carving. I also did not get an invite to that. I love pumpkin carving. So I'm going to have to talk to him. The kids did a great job. And as you can see, Mr. Learned is there with the kids carving his own pumpkin. And they also painted pumpkins. And you can see all of our students participating in these activities, regardless of ability or disability, which is what the program is all about. So welcome to the world of Rocky Hill Dream Academy, and we just want to thank you all for your continued support. And that concludes the presentation. So I'll be happy to take any questions if anybody has any questions.
Ms. Rolfe?
So when they go out to the sites that they work at, how is that scheduled? Do they all go to the same site?
No.
Do they?
No.
Is it a scheduled amount of time that they go each week?
Yes, so there's a schedule that's developed, and typically what we like to do is rotate, because we don't want the kids to always be at the same site all the time, because we want them to get different skills and like have different interests, because a student might not even know that they're interested in something until they have the experience. So we get all of our job sites, and then we look at the staff that we have, the kids that can be grouped together, because some students might need to be one-on-one, some students can be three-on-one, so it all depends on the abilities of the kids. And then we develop a schedule, and we have the transportation pick us up, and the kids go out into the community, and then they switch around. So
there's certain tasks that they do, like, I don't know, library, they're probably doing something with books.
Yes. So the owners of the business, because as I was saying, and what's going to be great about the Dream Academy, about the restaurant, is that we're going to kind of have the control over what the kids can do, because when the kids go out into the community, into the businesses, and the businesses are wonderful, we're at their mercy. They tell us this is what the kids can do. And we say, okay, and then we work with what we have. So it's great, and it's, better than not having that experience, but it will be really great to have the kids be able to do all aspects of what it's like to run a business, because they can't do everything.
How long do they typically spend at each?
A
couple hours?
Couple hours, yep. Several hours, because they come in and they eat breakfast, and they usually do like an activity, and then they'll get on the bus around 9, and they'll go out and be dropped off within the community, and then they come back at like around 12:30.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No. Thank you,
Okay,
Ms.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stevenson. Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instructions Report, Dr. Listro.
Okay, thank you so much. So as you heard the high school students report, we did have our annual night for the English learner families, which are now called multilingual learners. So you may hear me refer to them still by the EL phrase, but I'm going to try to use the new term the state wants us to use, which is MLs. The evening was a great success. We had approximately 61 out of our 260 families. That's 23% attend, which is pretty good. And I just want to give a shout out to our TESOL teachers, Leah Galuli and Kate Checko, who organized the event and really did a wonderful job presenting important information about our instructional program. And it also provided an opportunity for them to meet people in our community. Cora J. Belden participated, Parks and Rec participated, and Youth and Family Services participated. And several parents came up to me personally in the evening and thanked me because they've seen such a growth in their child over a very short period of time. So the program is really working. It's not just a testament to the people in the ELML department, but really to the hardworking staff who just continue to go the extra mile for these newcomers that come into our district, speaking very little English. We recently had our Professional Development Day for Teachers on Friday, October 6th, and I'm pleased to report that once again, we had some very high-quality sessions that are, I think, really enhancing the teacher's ability to deliver instruction effectively. So at the high school, we had a presenter come in and talk about engaging students with high-quality reading of texts and writing. He gave them hands-on ideas for teaching vocabulary using brain-based techniques. And I did pull a couple of comments because, of course, you hear me say all the time how wonderful it was. But here's what some of the high school teachers had to say when we asked them. This was one of the strongest PDs I've ever had at the high school. It was engaging, applicable, real-world applications for the classroom. I loved it. I look forward to having this presenter back. He was excellent. He was one of the best presenters. This PD was helpful because it provided concrete and usable strategies that can be immediately implemented in the classroom. And I'm pleased to say that we actually did bring him back this week. He was in classrooms modeling lessons for the high school teachers, which they really appreciated. And then they had time to sit with the presenter and debrief and talk about teaching practices. So very successful there. At the middle school, I know last year you heard me say we brought in a presenter to talk about difficult conversations and everybody got a book. That went so well that the high school teachers told me, bring it to the other schools. So on October 6th, the middle school had the same presenter, same content, and again, very well received. One teacher said, 25 years in the district as a teacher, and this ranks as one of the most beneficial, enjoyable, and productive PD sessions. And then over and over, comments said, amazing presenter, excellent presentation. So that went really well. At the elementary schools, we continue to work on improving our communication in the elementary grades, and we will be rolling out some improvements with our report card beginning this year. And more information will be shared with parents in advance. This next professional development coming up, the Election Day PD, we are focusing on teacher and student wellness, just like we did last year. And again, this year we're going to highlight some special sessions on helping teachers reduce the stress and anxiety level of students and help them deal with students that have been in trauma. So I will keep you posted on that. And then just a word about the upcoming November 10th day off, which we're honoring Veterans Day and Diwali. The schools are still planning to host veteran celebrations in each of the schools, even though we're not in session. So that's my update. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you for that informative report. Superintendent's report, Dr. Zito.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker, appreciate it. So first of all, I just want to, again, thank the board for the board members, Mr. Slattery, Mrs. Tucker, Mrs. Manella, and Mr. Gavin for participating in the contract negotiations. As Mr. Gavin mentioned in his report, it was a very smooth session. The teachers union ratified the contract last evening. You approved it on a consent calendar, so I'll notify the union that the contract has been approved, and I think it was a very fair settlement and puts the town in a good situation. Again, I also want to thank you for approving the graduation date for June 18th, 2024. I did get a call recently from a parent representing the project graduation committee, and I informed her that I anticipated that the board would approve the June 18th date. I know they're working to schedule their after graduation event for that night, and that's really good because the whole program is designed to keep our kids safe after they graduate. It's a safe place to go and enjoy themselves in a drug-free, alcohol-free environment, and that's really, really important. So I commend those parents for their efforts. As Chuck mentioned during his report tonight, we are starting the process very shortly with the principals and directors to go through their budget proposals for their various programs and for their schools. And we will start putting things together very soon. And you approved your calendar this evening. So those dates in late January and early February, we will plan on presenting our budget to you, my recommended budget, and then you'll have your opportunities to go through those workshops, and then ultimately by March, approve the board's budget before it goes to the council. We will deal with the spring 2023 student assessments at the November meeting. So there will be a curriculum committee meeting scheduled for October 25th. I know Dr. Listro is planning to go over the results at that curriculum committee meeting. That'll be at Mosier, 5 o'clock. That's next Wednesday. And then she'll do the full report again for the public at the board meeting in this room at the November meeting. So those are my items for this evening, Ms. Tucker, and I appreciate the opportunity to address the board with my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Dr. Zito? Okay, that brings us to a last agenda item, the chairman's report, so substitute chairman's report. Originally, I was thinking I really didn't have much to say tonight, but I'm not really sure I'll ever get this opportunity to sit in this seat again. So I'm going to take full advantage and report. At the conclusion of this meeting, we have completed our term, and we have finished 2 years together. I want to take a moment to really think about that and congratulate us, because half of us were new to this. So thank you very much to Mr. Dillon, if he's listening, to Mrs. Manella, Mrs. Morphia, and Mr. Desai for really taking us in and teaching us the ropes, because I thought it was very successful 2 years, but boy, was it a learning curve. So much to take in, and I have really appreciated the process personally. We have put our political affiliations aside, and we've never considered it when we were working together as a team. We provided a cohesive guidance for the Rocky Hill school system, which it was just a very positive experience for me. We have carried out our visions of the prior board, the board that we were stepping into. They left us with a great package, and I feel like we continued their momentum. Our first meeting together, they had just passed the new math program at GMS, where they were adding additional advanced classes. We carried that out. We also carried out and made adjustments to the senior seminar course, shifting what the state required, but then also considering what the students needed, making those shifts. And I just wanted to thank the teachers and administrators for continuing to help grow, nurture, and teach our students to become successful adults. Just a few other points that we carried through from the prior board, just continuing the improvements of the science classrooms of GMS. We only have 2 classrooms left to go. That's exciting, and I look forward to the next board continuing that momentum, improving the roof and the HVAC system of West Hill, just naming a few things. And then we started that nice large project at Stevens School, improving the HVAC system. Lastly, in closing, I just want to say really more of a personal note of how lucky I feel to be a part of this board, but really that my children attend Rocky Hill with their peers. My kids are pretty active in sports, so we get to attend a lot of different schools and see a lot of different settings. And it's very nice to walk into Rocky Hill because all of our schools just feel very welcoming. They're clean. They're the shiniest schools that I go to. It's just really great to be a part of this. So that's all I had in my closing.
Thank you very much.
All right, and do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Lafredo. Is there a second?
Second.
I think Ms. Morphia.
Yep.
Thank you. And that's it.
Thank you so much.